everybody, Sarah here. As you can see, new year, new setup. I am not completely done with everything yet, but I really hope that you like where it's going so far. I have all of my art put up behind me, as you can see. Finally, I have a place for all of my corn snake art. You guys have really only seen one or two of these at a time. Most of these were done by Donovan Winterberg of Drawn to Scales. I'll put his information down below if you'd like to check him out. Anyway, I hope that this year is going well for all of you so far. I wanted to make a few announcements about what I plan for the channel this year. Obviously, I have a different setup than I did. It's in the same room. I just wanted to actually give you guys a little bit more of a background, a little bit more of my personality behind me. And a couple other things that I'm actually going to be doing for the channel is obviously this is a book review. This is the first time I'm ever doing a book review, but I plan to do a book review every month, the first week of every month actually. And then the second week of every month, I'm going to be doing a morph deep dive for you guys. That will include new ones that I haven't done yet. That will include some redos of some old ones before I had the capability of putting photos up on the screen, because I know that really makes the video so much better when we're talking about morphs, and so I want to redo those videos so that you guys can actually see things a little bit better. The third week of every month, I'm going to be doing some kind of show-off video. So that's going to include everything from breeding to just maybe showing off some babies or showing off eggs that have been laid, or even babies hatching, stuff like that. So all of those type of videos are going to be on the third week of the month. The fourth week of the month, I'm going to be doing some other type of random video, whether it's a Q&A. I might do a second morph deep dive in a month, depending on what you guys want, or I might do something else, something like telling you guys stories of my past in corn snakes, and I've done a lot of rescue snakes and stuff, so I can tell those stories. I have a lot of history of corn snakes and other types of snakes in my past, so if that is the kind of thing that you want to hear about, just let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about it. The third thing that I want to announce is that is this the third thing? I don't know, maybe third or fourth thing. I am going to be giving away the books that I review on this channel to anyone who comments on a book review video. So if you comment, you don't have to comment anything specific. You can comment your opinion. You can just comment a blank space, like a period or whatever. Anybody who makes a comment on a video, your name is going to go in a hat, and then the next time I make a book review, I will draw names out of the hat and I will send you the book for free. So you know, it's basically just I'm not going to have any use for a lot of these books once I'm done reading them, and it's just kind of a fun thing that we can do kind of as a community to maybe pass these books around, and you guys get to see the notes that I write in the margins and stuff like that. It's not going to be for all of the books, but it will be for some of them, including the one today. So if you're new here, please subscribe. I put out corn snake content every single week, and subscribing really helps out the channel. And I really appreciate you guys being here. I really hope to build a really good community this year. It's kind of been a weird uphill slide up till now to get to where I am, and I really want to put out the best content ever for you guys, and you guys communicating with me either via comments or even liking or disliking or subscribing to the channel. It really tells me what you guys like, and so that's the kind of content that I want to put out. Now I'm jumping into the meat and potatoes of the video. So I want to mention that I'm going to be judging each book on three main criteria. Number one is how good the actual information is in the book. If you're reading the book, is the information accurate, or have they said something that's incorrect, etc. Number two is how in-depth the book is versus what it's advertised to be. So if something advertises itself as the complete, all knowledge you will need for X, Y, or Z, but it doesn't deliver that, it's going to get a lower score. And then the third thing is how good the writing is and how easy it is to understand. I'm also kind of saying that for English speakers specifically, because some of these books you can kind of tell were written in a different language, and that's going to be the case for the book that we go over today. So the original language might have been fine, but for an English speaker it sounds really weird to be reading some of these things. What I'm going to do is give each book a 1 out of 10 score in each category, and then average the category's scores for the overall book score. 1 is obviously going to be the lowest score, and then 10 is going to be the highest score, as in like the best of whatever it's labeled as. I do want to give you an example of what I consider to be a 10 out of 10 book. I will review this book eventually and break it down via criteria, but just so you know, out of the gate, you know what a 10 out of 10 book is to me, and that is Kathy Love's book, The Complete Comprehensive Owner's Guide for Corn Snakes, by Kathy and Bill Love. This is to me what a 10 out of 10 book is. It is pretty complete. It is a little outdated now. Some of the morph information in the back is a little outdated, but especially for when it was written, this was like the complete for everything. And so this is what I would consider to be a 10 out of 10 book, and I'm judging everything sort of based on that, like comparing based on that. I also want to mention that anything that I say in my review is not an attack on the person who wrote these books. I know it's kind of a difficult thing to write and publish a book, so it is an accomplishment for anyone. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to offend or hurt or attack the actual authors of these books. This is just, like I said, I have my 3 main criteria, and I'm going to try not to laugh in some of these. I will be honest, some of these are hilarious, but it's mostly because of the way that it was translated, and you'll definitely have plenty of examples with this book. The book we are going to be reviewing today is called Corn Snake by Lewis Henry, and as you can see, it has a milk snake on the front of it instead of a corn snake. And that was why I picked this as the first one to read, because I had to see like what was going on in this. I tried to look up the author, really couldn't find anything on him. I don't really know, there's no like copyright information on this book or anything like that, and so I don't know, I don't even think it is copywritten. I don't know. It says that it was printed the day that I ordered it, so I have a feeling that this is like a corn snake care guide that was in a different language and that was translated and then just printed. I don't really know, but someone in editing really didn't know even what a corn snake was, and that will kind of, all of these things add into the overall like score that the book will get. So we're going to start with criteria number 1, and that is how good is the actual information in the book that the book provides. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. It says everything you need to know, and of course, I don't know if you can read that. Everything you need to know about your pet, basically, your pet corn snake. And it's definitely not everything you need to know, but I will say that the information provided is for the most part pretty accurate. There were definitely a few parts in the book where I felt that they were giving incorrect information, especially when they were talking about the like temperature in the enclosure. They did say like that to not use a heat mat at all because you can't control how hot the heat gets. Well, you can with a thermostat, which is why I always recommend a heat pad with a thermostat. It also said that they recommend heat lights, but they recommend to not use UVB lights. And I would flip those. I would flip that. I would use a heat mat, not a heat light, and then make sure your snake has some UVB. Another thing that I thought made this book a little bit kind of weird and confusing is that on the front, it calls them corn snakes. Fine. And then in the first like page or 2, it talks about how they are corn snakes or red rodent snakes, which I understand. This is why I feel like it's probably from another language. They are known as rosy rat snakes in the US. So red rodent snake, it at least like it makes sense. But what's interesting to me is like past the first or second page, it never calls them either corn snakes or red rodent snakes again. After that, it continues to call them like dark rodent snakes instead. You can see an example of that right there. It says dark rodent snakes. And I'm not really understanding why that is. I don't understand why they would put corn snake on the cover. They would put corn snake like in the first couple of pages, and then they would say red rodent snake, which is relatively accurate, but then in the whole rest of the book past chapter 1, they never say corn snake again, and they never say red rodent snake again. They continue to call it like the dark rodent snake after that. And so I'm not really sure what happened there, but that kind of made me think that they were talking about something else. And so I can imagine that it would be very confusing for someone who maybe had just purchased their first corn snake and they got this book because they said to themselves, you know what, it's a small book, it's something I can sit down and read in an afternoon, and it's everything I need to know. But then they never even mention the term corn snake in the book. Like that just, I don't know if I would be able to like recommend it. So in that first category, I would definitely just give it a 5 out of 10. I mean, some of the information is right, and if you could understand what they were saying pretty well, then you're gonna have like pretty basically good information, but it's not perfect. I mean, I don't necessarily expect it to be perfect, but it's not nearly like what it is advertised as. The second category kind of ties into that, and that is how in-depth the book gets. This says again that it's everything you need to know, and it's not even remotely everything you need to know. And so in this category, I only give it a 4 out of 10. It does provide a decent amount of information on some of the ailments and how to help with those ailments. Basically, it just says, here's 3 or 4 things that your snake can get, take it to a veterinarian. It says, and I quote, "These medical problems require therapy by an outlandish creature veterinarian." And that's where I just have to laugh. I know that what they mean is like an exotic animal veterinarian, but because of the translation, it is outlandish creature veterinarian. Also, like, you can see how big the text is in this book. Like, it's not even a book. If you made it 12-point font, it would only be like 3 pages long. So in the first category, it was 5 out of 10. Second category, 4 out of 10. Third category is how easy is it to understand and would I recommend it. I'm just gonna kind of read some of the excerpts from this that I've highlighted, so that you guys can get an idea of like why I would say maybe this is not something I'd recommend. It gets a 3 out of 10 in this category, and this is why. Reason number 1 is like not even on the first page, and that is it gives page numbers, right? To like refer to, but none of the pages have numbers. None of the pages have numbers. So like you literally have to go through and count the pages if you want to refer to the pages. I know that might be nitpicking, but that's part of like reviewing a book, is like how easy is it to understand, to refer to different things, etc. And this one is you know, it gives page numbers, but the book doesn't have page numbers. So obviously that's going to be red flag number 1 on this book. I also, this again is nitpicking, but like all of these are capitalized, but like half of this line is not capitalized. Just the lack of consistency I thought was a little strange. I'm just gonna read a few little things out of the book out of context, and if you want to read the whole book in context, like I said, comment and you might get a chance to win the free copy of it. This copy, exactly, that I have written in the margins of and highlighted. It's an extraordinary decision, particularly for tenderfoot snake proprietors. What are they talking about? You'll have to comment for context. Here's one where it says, "Hostage rearing has delivered." Hostage rearing has delivered, guys. I don't know what that means, but it has delivered. Like most snakes, rodent snakes are unparalleled slick people. A got-away snake is additionally prone to give your family unit guests a decent scare. True. I think if my husband found a snake just chilling out, he'd probably be like, "What the heck, Sarah?" Give a shroud box, like a topsy-turvy cardboard box, that is sufficiently enormous for the snake to twist up in. Keep a surrounding temperature of 80 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Good information. A lolling site ought to be 85 to 88 degrees Fahrenheit. A lolling site. And also in many places, it does this, where it'll just like have a period and then a 2, and then the next sentence. And like that happens at least half a dozen times in this tiny little book. Like, I don't know, again, the editing, man. However, they can make it hard to screen how blistering the walled-in area is. And this, I think, is referring to heat mats. And I think that what they're trying to say is like, if you just plug in a heat mat, you don't have a thermostat, it can get hot, but like, again, thermostat. Corn snakes lean toward the dampness found in a run-of-the-mill family. I'm sure they're referring to humidity, but come on. And they also continually refer to an enclosure as a fenced-in area. It's always a fenced-in area. Sometimes they say like something else, but they often will say fenced-in area instead of enclosure or tank or anything like that. Inkless paper is the utilitarian decision, since it is anything but difficult to tidy up. The chips that are filthy with excrement can just be scooped out. Clean and invigorate the shavings varying. That's the whole sentence. That's the whole sentence. I don't even know what the context is for that sentence. Hostage corn snakes ought to be taken care of pre-slaughtered solidified. They ought to, guys. The prey ought to be expanded as the corn snake develops. The prey thing can be as wide or somewhat more extensive than the snake's head. And it refers to prey as prey thing all the time. It doesn't say rodent. It just says prey thing. Prey thing. Always prey thing. Your snake's hunger may decay around the hour of shed. Just that 1 hour though. The rest of the time is fine. Enduring an onslaught from a hunter in nature. In any case, they all the more ordinarily escape from showdown. Papers are reasonable and well-known substrate materials. And just let me read you the last sentence of the book. There is no outro. This is just the complete finishing sentence in the book. In the wild, they catch and murder live rodents. The end. The last criteria, it only got a 3 out of 10 from me. The kind of ease of understanding some of these things are obviously not very easy to understand. And it just made reading it very strange and kind of hilarious. Again, I'm not attacking the owner. I'm sure that this was the fault of Google Translate and a lack of having an editor. This book only gets an average of 4 out of 10 for me. I can't say that I would recommend it. And there is a little part of me that's kind of surprised that it even got a 4 out of 10. Originally, I wasn't going to do like specific criteria and I was just going to give you guys a number, but I figured it would be a lot more fair to have more specific criteria to base these things on, even though it is all just my opinion. And I, like, in my brain thought 2 out of 10 and it ended up being 4 out of 10. So, you know, take it for what it is. Like I said, I can't necessarily recommend this 100% for a new corn snake owner, but if you would like this book along with all of my scribblings and highlights in it, again, comment down below and I will put your name in a hat for the next time. And if I draw your name, I'll send it to you for free. Remember that next week is going to be a morph deep dive. I think I'm going to start with redoing the blood red and diffused videos, since that was what you guys voted for in a poll back in 2021. And yeah, remember to subscribe and check out my website, serioussnakeshop.com, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.